Hey nautical navigators, you're tuned into ENGG 481, the home of technology and society. Brought to you by Bailey Kimmel and Joel Kramer. This week, we're going to talk about the advancements of oceanic navigation. Hold on to your seatbelts, this is going to be a bumpy ride.
Oh crap, okay. So, you damage your navigation system to the point that it's no longer operational, which on its own isn't the worst thing in the world. Except for the fact that you happen to be exactly
2,688 kilometers from land.
Any direction, the furthest from land any human can possibly be. Ironically enough, this oceanic point of inaccessibility was not discovered by hopelessly lost voyagers. It was discovered first with the help of global positioning systems. Fun factoid, survey engineer Hirvoy Lakata discovered this point by writing a computer program to comb through maps. These maps were created by using GPS coordinates and precision surveying. Which again, you no longer have. But don't panic, 92 other people have survived being lost at sea, so you might just live too. In fact, humans have been traveling the seas without GPS systems for at least 3 millennia.
Let's take a quick look.
Hi, I'm the Bubble Narrator, here to explain what's actually going on. There are two main categories of navigation: coastal, within sight of land, and astronomical, which is practiced out at sea. Prior to the development of agricultural societies, coastal navigation was sufficient for foraging communities. Relying on conspicuous landmarks, early civilization groups were visually restricted to the horizon distance. Necessity for expansion and resource exploration would later drive the inception of astronomical navigation. Early societies passed on nautical navigation practices orally, which encouraged keen observation of natural phenomena. Such is the case with early Polynesian travelers, who were able to explore and occupy the Polynesian Triangle, a 2 million square kilometer region. They did this from 1200 BC to 1200 AD. The success of Polynesian mariners was largely a result of dead reckoning, a method of oceanic navigation where a previously known location is selected so both current velocity and direction of sail can be compared. Direction was determined from static points, for instance the stars or sun, and velocity was determined typically by placing a trained hand in the oceanic currents. As developed by the Polynesian rudimentary understanding of wave refraction, the presence of different currents was an indication of nearby islands. These methods were reliable enough that over 24 centuries, the Polynesians were able to get from Peru to Polynesia and back again. Discoveries, such as the remains of chickens in Peru, that were carbon dated back to 1350, support the claim that Polynesians made the two-way voyage across the Pacific, further solidifying their navigation proficiency. While the area covered by these early navigators was impressive, it should be noted that these accomplishments took place over a 2,000-year period. Furthermore, these accomplishments came at a cost. These navigation practices were very susceptible to errors due to wind direction, star alignment, and the lack of discrete measurements. This, in turn, required skilled sailing masters for very long journeys. Miscalculations by these sailing masters during travel would result in course deviation and typically death. The history of early Polynesian navigation serves as an excellent baseline of what could be achieved in the absence of celestial measurement. It was upon the introduction of navigation tools that European mariners' successes began to mimic those of early Polynesians. These pioneers may not have understood the significance of it then, but the use of celestial bodies paved the way for new and more precise understandings of orienteering.
Let's give this the good old college try. You need 3 things to pull this off. 1. Current location. 2. Speed of your ship. 3. The direction your ship is heading. Okay, so the first one is super easy. You're currently at Point Nemo. We already know that. The closest spit of land is Motunonoi, one of the Easter Islands. This seems like something worth aiming for. The next one is a little tricky. Your GPS was the thing telling you how fast you're going. But that's okay. Jeremy Clarkson is here to explain.
This is our speedometer. We've tied knots in a row, and you see how many pass through your fingers in a given time.
It's a very accurate system.
Captain, about 110 knots.
What's that in miles an hour?
125.
You're currently far enough south that the sun will never pass directly overhead. We're probably going to take advantage of that. When the sun reaches the highest point in the sky, you know that point on the horizon, directly below it, is approximately north, and that's the best we're going to get right now, I think. So, you're safe, right? Wrong! The obvious caveat here is that as soon as you start sailing, you will effectively be accumulating air. What that means is, the further you get from your known point of location, the less confident you'll be of your current position. Yeah, so that's not going to work, but it's okay. Let's remain positive here, and let's see what else we can come up with. Yeah.
Hey, it's me again. Sailors began widespread use of tools to determine their latitude in the 15th century. The pole star is exceedingly close to being directly above the geographic North Pole. By measuring the angle of the star with respect to the horizon, the latitude of the ship can be almost directly measured. The instrument used for this measurement was a mariner's quadrant. Similarly, correction factors were determined to allow mariners to use the Southern Cross as well. If the sun was to be used as a reference, the mariner would have to correct the measurement with charts delineating the predicted zenith angle for that time of year. With this technology, Christopher Columbus sailed towards the soon-to-be-called Americas in 1492. To better understand why Spain would fund such a dangerous journey, events must be placed in the context of the Indian spice trade. Trade catalyzed by China in centuries prior had made the Indian Ocean the center of a trade-driven economy. By the 15th century, many European countries had caught wind of this trade and decided they too wanted in on the action. The Portuguese were the first to successfully arrive in the Indian Ocean using a quadrant to track their progress as they traveled south along Africa's west coast. Because the journey demanded that a continent be circumnavigated, travel in order to capitalize on the spice trade was still barely feasible. It was this reality that Christopher Columbus capitalized on when he pitched the sail-around strategy to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. With conquest and imperialistic ideals growing firmly in the hearts of post-Crusade monarchies, the demand to sail to far-off colonies began to rise rapidly. As travel increased, the inconvenience of running down the latitudes became increasingly evident. However, for the straight-line travel to be feasible, the exact position of a vessel in open water would need to be consistently checked. Astronomers would have to catch up. Methods for determining one's own longitude in the 16th century were unreliable at best. In 1504, Columbus attempted to determine his longitude while moored in the Caribbean using the predicted time for a lunar eclipse in Spain and an instrument called the cross staff. His results were inaccurate by tens of degrees. Failure can be attributed to two things: poor astronomical predictions and inaccurate equipment. Technology at the time was simply not up to the task. This newfound applicability of astronomy prompted many European empires to start funding the development of more accurate methods of orientation. In the decades to follow, the scientific revolution and rapid industrialization underway in Europe began to bear fruit. In 1731, a double reflecting instrument designed by John Hadley was presented called the octant. It increased the range of measurement to 1/4 of a circle in degrees, a vast improvement when contrasted against the cross-staff and backstaff. The octant allowed mariners to plot straight-line paths to their destinations. This greatly increased the speed raw materials could be exported from the colonies. The English Empire began to grow without bound. With 1/4 of a circle of measurement range, sailing between the latitude of 20 and 60 degrees was a breeze. However, once the bounds were left, measurement of the correct celestial body became impossible. Construction began again on a more versatile tool. This time, improvements came more rapidly, and by 1750, a revision called the sextant was introduced. As the name implies, it was capable of measuring 120 degrees, thus making any stretch of open ocean safely navigable. The British, who invented both of these instruments, became a driving force in exploration as a result. The sextant would reign supreme for centuries to come, seeing constant improvements on usability and accuracy. Improvements in manufacturing precision meant navigators could measure angles down to the arc minute. It was also found that using precise onboard timekeeping improved the potential for the accuracy of measurement as well. From its inception in the 15th century until retirement in the 20th century, celestial navigation gave incredible power to those who wielded it. In 1946, it was finally eclipsed by artificial stars humanity had managed to place in the sky themselves.
So yeah, that trusty 18th century celestial chart that you have lying around, that's going to come in handy right now? Wait, no, you don't have that? Well, I guess that's okay. Instead, we're going to make a quadrant. You're going to grab 3 pencils or sticks or like whatever you have hanging around the boat there. Then you're going to tie 3 pencils together like this really quick. Boom, boom, boom. Put the pointy thing up into your eye and bingo. Line up one pencil with the horizon. The other one will be at the bottom star of the Southern Cross. And then you'll figure out the angle the pencil's just made. And ta-da, you now have your latitude. Whatever you do know, you must stay on that latitude.
Stay on it, stay on it.
Check it every chance you get. So good luck. Don't forget to have fun, of course, and hopefully see you in 2 months. The plus side, if you do make it all the way back, your family's going to be like really happy that you're still...